listeners, for those of you who don't know, today is Miss Bethanie Shiplap's last day here on the podcast because she's quitting, giving up, and going away forever. And so this is actually good news because this gives us an opportunity here at the Josh Mann podcast to bring in somebody who actually does stuff and who could actually be helpful and useful and doesn't just take up space.
I just feel like after my internship ended, me staying was almost, I'm not a filmmaker or even a producer. I had to learn all this audio stuff and I need to make money, Mr. Mann. That's the real reason why I'm leaving.
Oh, is that what this is about?
Well, yes.
So it's incredibly selfish of you. Then.
No, well,
you're learning things, you're doing things, like you have coworkers.
Well, and I'm not making anything at all.
But someday you might.
I just need to pay rent, honestly, Mr. Mann, and it's just not.
Why do you quit a job to make money? That doesn't make sense.
It's not paying anything. I was kind of just
internship.
Doing it.
You knew it wasn't going to pay anything.
That actually ended last year, Mr. Mann. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. You enjoyed it so much you're quitting.
I just need a job, Mr. Mann, and it's going to be a great way for me to save for my future.
Yep. And I'll save for my future by not having to look at you and talk to you.
I'm so sorry.
I will live a lot longer and a lot happier, and our listeners will enjoy this podcast so much more. I bet our listenership grows by 5 billion%.
It might, Mr. Mann.
It will.
Okay, it might.
You're listening to the Josh Mann podcast featuring director extraordinaire Josh Mann. Well, podcast listeners, this is Josh Mann, director extraordinaire, with you once again. And for the final time, I have with me producer Bethanie Shiplap.
Yep, and we're doing this episode, and it's one last one.
Good riddance, right? So everyone, here's the deal. We're going to do a real episode. Bethanie's kind of being a turd today, but what's new, right?
Right.
So today we're going to discuss something that most filmmakers struggle with, and that is the topic of old people. And are old people necessary in the film industry? And are they even useful? Or can you just fake old? Because you can't. Here's what you can't do. You can take young people and fake old, but you really can't take old people and fake young because they still look wrinkly and they still think slow and say old people things.
Mr. Mann, I don't think this topic. How is this a whole episode? Is there anything else we could talk about?
That's right. I forgot. You are the film expert, so you would know. Well, I don't even know why you're bringing anything up because you're leaving. Why is it a big deal whether we talk about this or not? You're on your way out the door anyway.
You're gonna find someone else, Mr. Mann. You really will. There's a lot of film students at Northwestern, and they could do an internship.
They're not gonna understand me. They're not gonna.
Mr. Mann, you don't know that.
They're gonna think I'm stupid. They're
not
going to understand how smart I am like you do. You know how smart I am because I tell you every single week.
You do.
And then I have to start all over with somebody who doesn't know I'm smart, and then I have to tell them, and what if they don't believe me?
Well, I remember when I first started, I was like, who is this guy? And I thought about ending the internship, but then for some reason I stayed.
Why?
I really don't know,
it's
Mr. Mann.
You're learning so much from me?
Well, it's something. Gosh, I really don't know, but
then why are you
you'll
going?
Find someone.
Why do you have to go?
No, I
don't want you to go.
I got a new job, Mr. Mann. It's just a part of life.
I can pay you. I can pay you and greeting cards,
Mr. Mann,
and hugs, and attaboys. Because
maybe money could.
I don't have any. I don't even have my own money.
Yeah.
My mom has to help me all the time.
Oh.
And I thought the podcast would be going really good by now, and like we'd be making like millions of dollars, but it just hasn't worked that way. Because I want to give you some money.
Yeah, and I want you to make good money too. You know, maybe this is the change that you need. Maybe you'll find somebody who's, you know, an actual producer, an actual
But are they
filmmaker,
going to do it for free?
Well,
Because I'm not going to have money next week.
I don't know, and maybe you could start out with another intern,
Okay.
grow.
What are you making at the new job?
$12.50.
Oh, that's not very good.
Well, it's a waitress position, and I feel like starting out that's good. I
you
can make
get
lots of tips. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I
I
think
can't. Okay. What
it
if?
could be good.
What if I can't pay you $12.50 an hour, but I could give you tips sometimes?
Like filmmaking tips?
Well, yeah, and other kind of
Mr.
tips
Man.
like just how to avoid danger, because I'm really good at that, and how to make friends with like your mailman. Like I've done that like so many times.
I bet.
And,
I bet.
like-
Well, I need the money and the money.
It's all about money
tips.
with you, isn't it?
Mr. Man, I just need a job. I'm not even
This
going
is a
after
job. This is a
big
job. You
Well,
have to show up here and
It's
you have to do
something
work.
I've just been kind of doing, and I haven't really been getting any benefits from it. I guess if I'm being honest, Mr. Man.
You haven't learned anything.
Oh,
like
I've
you
learned
haven't benefited
interesting
from our friendship
things.
and from
Well,
our time
no.
together and from.
You know, you're a great friend and person.
You know what I like to do? I
And-
like to walk out on my best friends too.
Oh, Mr. Man,
I have a lump in my throat right now.
I hear it. Today's episode is sponsored by Zippy's Haircuts for Men. Zippy specializes in buzz cuts for bald and almost bald gentlemen of all ages. Balding early? Well, Zippy says that is a sign to shave off the rest of your hair, because once your hair starts going, it's not coming back. Well, thank you, Zippy, for sponsoring the podcast today. Well, thank you for listening to the Josh Mann podcast, and thank you to our sponsor, Zippy's Haircuts for Men. This isn't a normal episode.
No, it's not normal at all.
And honestly, Mr. Man, I don't think this should be recorded.
We're almost done now.
Well, we haven't said anything. We haven't taught
We've been talking
anything.
this whole time.
No, I think we need to save Zippy's money for another episode.
We've
Well,
already
once you
gotten
get
paid. We already got paid. We can get a different sponsor for the next one.
We didn't do him justice. When you get your new producer,
my gosh, why do you care?
just use the sponsorship then, because this is a mess.
You just got stop. You're talking and like nobody even cares anymore because you're leaving. You're leaving me.
Oh, Mr. Man, it's just that time to move on, and it's time.
So listeners,
It's time.
thank you for listening to the Josh Mann podcast, and check back with us next week in case we have an episode. I don't know if we will or not, because I don't know I don't know what buttons to push. And that's all.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Josh Mann podcast, featuring director extraordinaire Josh Mann.